Ladies and gentlemen, welcome along to The Bat and the Bandit, episode 22.
Fucking hell.
And we're not in our usual setting, Lee. Where are we?
We're in Evolution Boxing Club in Carrickfergus. The proprietor is Mr. Ian Mahood. He's sitting here looking at us like we're fucking Egypt.
And we are joined today by a very special guest, Mr. Liam Shannon. Now, Liam, when we started this podcast, obviously we weren't going to have guests every week, and we thought to ourselves, you know, if there was two guests we could get, it'd be somebody from the music world and someone from the MMA world, and we got Foy Vance.
Well, that was the dream guests were always going to be Foy and yourself, Liam.
So
you know
the fact that you're taking the time now to sit and have a chat with us is awesome. So we really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you very much, and thank God I wasn't the music guy. I can't sing.
Fuck here.
Let's dive.
Near can I?
Let's dive straight into it. How are you, mate?
It's all good. Yeah, all good. Yeah,
Happy days.
Busy.
Now I think because it's still relatively fresh, we want to talk about the Paul fight. Now, going back to it, myself and Lee watched it together down in the tattoo studio. And first and foremost, regardless of result, it was one of the best performances by an Irish sports combat athlete ever in the history of Irish combat sports. And when it came to the result, I scored it 48-46. Watched it the first time round. 48-47, then with a point deduction, 48-46. Watched it again, and I still felt that was the result, because we were sitting on the sofa. Do you remember? When they
started calling the fucking the points, because you actually says is that the Paul, isn't it? And I thought, fucking is, it has to be.
And then it was just the air was completely fucking sucked out of the room. Have you watched it back? And at the time, what were your because you were sitting there cage side? What were your initial thoughts and feelings? Could you tell? Were you thinking to yourself, we fucking got this, or what was going on?
Well, basically, the exact same as yourselves. Like, once the first scorecard was out 47-47, and I went, right, we're going to get fucked over here by getting the draw. Suits all the parties in terms of the narratives, in terms of we'll get the undefeated champion stays undefeated. We'll get the rematch, the money match. We'll do it all again, and we'll get the hate behind it. And it's a people would accept that. It's a fair result and go, right, we fought Paul on it. But once the second score was 48-46, I was like, there's no way they can give this guy all these rounds. It has to be us. And I remember turning around to the crowd and just put my head against the fence going, I just hope that, to be honest, in terms of like kind of the be who they say they are. And obviously we were robbed from it, you know what I mean? Again, it's a bittersweet, because we knew the performance was so good as well. But when you see the superstar status that they have over her, and we know we're up against not just
that's
fighter,
what I had thought as well. Liam, was there a fucking like a Arabic nation, Arabic fighters, Arabic judges? Was there a lot of element involved in that there, do you think, or just like, you know what I mean? If he wasn't getting knocked out, he was never winning.
Well, that was our kind of perspective of the whole thing itself going over there. We knew that. In fact, we knew the way the fight. We actually sat down with Paul and Pat last Sunday for 3 hours. Watch the fight again. I'm afraid stuff.
Was that your first time watching it back?
No, that was my second time. What I call, because I always think when you watch it initially, it's usually your most honest reaction. You watch it over and you're looking for other stuff. But I was actually talking to someone the other day about it, and they're not MMA fans, but they watched that fight. And they said that we thought Paul won it, and I went, well, the new rule set is geared towards new fans in terms of they don't really know too much. They're watching a fight.
Do you think there's still an issue with the interpretation of the old rules, and maybe people coming from a judging background who've been there a number of years are still viewing that through the lens of the first interpretation of the unified rules?
Well, I think sometimes with that type of fight, they're like kind of lean on that in terms of go like, well, he got a takedown. He won that
Which, as we know, if you get a takedown and you do nothing with it, that's nullified the takedown.
Yeah, exactly. So he took him down, didn't pass his guard, and the strikes landed was 33 strikes from Paul, 8 strikes from him.
Fucking hell.
So even that takedown, then Paul he must have got more advantages. But again, you can kind of, they're looking at reasons to score Emmons, and we knew that from the very start. We knew that there's going to be an awful lot of volume compared to impactful shots. So we were sitting saying like we know that, like, looking on based on his last order of fights, that he's going to throw an awful lot of kicks on the outside range, and he's going to try and steal the fight. Even the commentary was kind of.
I was going to say that the commentary was just biased as fuck. So it was, man.
We said it at the time that we said it on the last podcast or the podcast straight after the fight. I'm a huge Dan Hardy fan. He is one of my favourite.
I've lost a bit of fucking respect for him after that. Like, to be honest.
As an analyst, I think he is top of the food chain. But I even said to you at the time, it felt like there was credence being given to everything that Usman did, whereas Paul was kind of, it fell on deaf ears.
Like as if somebody had said, don't talk too much about the Irish fighter. Make sure your fucking focus is on Usman.
Yeah, I do think there's a big lot of pressure on the likes of people who are working for the company.
Yeah.
Because they're obviously trying to push somebody in particular. And again, it must be hard because they're a fresh company. Like these global stars are coming in there and they're raising their kind of status within the MMA community. So they say that they come in and get unknown type of guy on the worldwide stage, Paul, to come in and kind of deflate the balloon. Like, you know what I mean? It's hard for lemons not to.
Yeah.
But again, like when you're in that moment, I know you've been in fights and all that, when you see the visual impacts of shots happening, like there was times where Usman wanted to quit. Like his head, he called him body shots.
The body shots were impeccable.
He didn't want to be there.
Toward the end of the first round, he was fucked.
Yeah, when I seen the photo afterwards sent at the end of the second round, and he sat there in the chair, and he was like, "Who is in front of me here?" Like, I did not want to go in there. Like when the clash of heads, that he milked the life for that, and it was a certain degree where he was going over to his corner, and it was like it felt that Dust on the other side of his corner was actually persuading him to keep fighting.
Stay in.
To stay in there, right? Well, this guy's not coming out, and Papa's going, well, we win the fight because we're well ahead.
Even the narrative of the clash of heads became, if you looked on social media, it became Paul headbutted him. Like that became, everything became almost anti-Paul Hughes in a social media sphere.
Very quickly, and very like purposely. You know, that's what we seen from the outside looking in. You're right at the cage side. You're seeing it as it's happening. We were seeing a couple of different aspects of what was going on. It was fucking weird, man.
It was almost as if a narrative had, and I don't want to sound conspiratorial, but it was almost as if the narrative had been crafted and they were trying to fit everything into the narrative.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sound.
We're not trying to get you to say that.
No.
That
was our interpretation of it. But then post fight, straight away, going back to the changing room, what do? How do you even begin to break that down, or what was the feeling, or where was Paul's head at?
Yeah, well, I was really disappointed, like, and very proud of the performance, but disappointed in terms of not walking home with
the situation. Yeah,
not walking home with a belt, and again, people getting very respectful, and everybody, like Usman and the whole team, I'm okay. So respectful afterwards, and that was nice.
Had to be. There's no fucking choice.
Yeah, kind of forced them to do that, maybe. But it was very enlightening to see Paul's reaction, because I didn't, like, obviously when he fought Usman, when he fought George Shannon get beat. Yeah, it was a different atmosphere backstage, because we fought Paul won, and then backstage it was like a reflection where Mark Goddard come in, we had like Rich Mitchell come in and go, listen lads, they were the chief judge and the referee, and they were like, lads, you won that fight. Yeah. I've never seen that this day all in my life. They have somebody coming backstage and going, "Listen, we fought, you won that fight." Yeah. But obviously, we avenged that in time. Paul watched the fight backstage, literally 2 minutes after the fight happened. They watched it back.
Oh, really?
They address it. But this time, he was actually like almost like not that he won, but he was so happy with his performance. Yeah. And that he proved to people that he deserved to be on the stage.
And he had validated everything that he said he was going to do.
Yeah, validation. I think almost. Not just about, I think almost because even before we walked out, he looked around and it was like a homecoming moment for me. Like I've told the PFL that I'm going to fill out arenas.
It was a culmination of what he said he was going to do for about 4 or 5 years. Yeah. Even before the PFL was pretty much in existence, he knew that he was good, because if you ever look at the YouTube videos or anything he does, there is this forethought with him, this element of manifestation and knowing that he can make these things happen. So that must have been gratifying for himself, for yourself, for the gym, to know that this is what we can do.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And then again, as you said, like he when he's saying with the PFL, he says that it's going to be game changer. He's going to change the game for the PFL. And the PFL have always struggled. Like we were on the Saudi Arabia card, and it was I think they were giving tickets away because it was half empty. Yeah. Like I remember walking out, standing behind Paul with a video of it, and what I called, he was like, I filled this place out. There's 10,000 fully. Like this wouldn't be here. Usman's been on numerous shows, and there was no ceremonial weigh-ins, nobody at the crowd. Right, you know what I mean? It's just like a half-hearted thing, you know what I mean? Where Paul had obviously changed the status of the whole promotion itself.
Well fucking done.
And so I think it's almost for Lemons. I am what I said I am. I'm going to do what I've always said I'm going to do for you. Yeah. So I think that he had already kind of held his part of the agreement up. I just didn't back himself up in terms of the performance, which he 100%. Did. So everything outside of the win that was perfect for him. You know what I mean? And again, the win was argumentative of did he win or did he not
Yeah.
And you spoke about the level of respect from Usman's camp, from Khabib and everything, and we have to touch a wee bit on what happened with Conor McGregor coming out and just, I don't know what the motivation was there, but it was just unnecessary, deflammatory, and disappointing for this MMA community, this Irish MMA community that we have, for someone to speak so in such a deflammatory fashion about somebody who's just become the new standard bearer for the sport was so disappointing. And we talked about that.
We talked about that because to me, looking in on that from the outside, this guy could have been so much fucking more.
Yeah.
And then the money and the power and everything else, there's a lack of understanding that he's actually a conscious fucking being. I think at times he's just got money, he had power, and he had the world in his fucking hand at a time, and now he sees this more humility-driven, real fucking deal of a fighter, and it pisses him off. Do you know what I mean? Because he's never going to be there again.
How did that land with you guys?
It was disappointing, just obviously, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's disappointing because he has, like, for MMA, he has changed everything, you know what I mean? Regarding my time in MMA, when he came along, like when I was fighting, he was on my undercard, and then build it up, seeing him doing so well, and being so, like, kind of like, it's so funny because Chael Sonnen was the first one, you know what I mean? He was the first guy, like, from the WWE type of era, and Conor was so funny. I still watch his old like press conferences.
To bring a bit of a gimmick.
It's so good, and he's so funny. He's just so switched on. And to see such a star like that fall the Lee's lows, because I think he's gone through an awful lot of stuff. I don't probably think he's got the right people around him to support him and give him the right kind of shoulder lean on and advice. You know what I mean? I think that sometimes people, when you get that level, that maybe people are just maybe looking at pay packet.
Yeah.
And I think that it's not him as a person.
Yeah.
He's gone down, or maybe he's gone down a wrong path. We all go through bad times in our lives.
Of course, yeah.
We also need people to say, listen here, get your act
Pull
together.
your fucking horns in.
Yeah. So that I think people are afraid to do that, or maybe what I call it, the feeling that he's so high up that he can't do that. But sometimes you are being a real friend by doing that.
100%.
And sometimes when you have that much money, you don't really have friends.
Yeah, even them two wee wankers, the Paul brothers, remember the fucking?
Oh yeah.
They were like they used to fucking revere him, and then they see him in real life going to the inauguration of President Trump,
and they said it was
like,
sad.
What the fuck? That was sad. Taking the piss out of him and all, you know what I mean?
But he is so much more. And again, I hope that, like, you know what I mean, end of this is a speed bump and he can't come back. Because I would love to see him fight again. He's such a great fighter.
And we were all fans.
Yeah, well, I'm still a fan of his fighting. Like, I still watch his fights and hanging on. And I think that he's not that old. He can't bring it back, and he can't bring. Like, I hope maybe he can they kind of turn it around and show the public. Yeah, because everyone deserves. I mean, people don't know what he's going through. Say that he's going through the court battles and this and that and all. And we're judging outside.
Because we're only hearing what we're hearing.
Yeah, but we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And I'm sure he gets an awful lot of, like, people following about and all, like, kind of, they're looking reasons to kind of get on his tail, like, you know what I mean? So,
is there a certain stage of wealth, do you think, that makes you not feel the need to do that anymore? Or is a person like that got that in them? That
I always heard
they're too proud. They're going to want to fight again, no matter how much they have, and you know what I mean.
I always heard the old adage that money doesn't change people; it reveals them.
Yeah.
So you can, if you're not bound by the social conventions or the relationships you need to keep, where you can essentially be what you want to be without fear of reprisal. So theoretically, maybe that this was always there somewhere.
Yeah.
And now it's like letting a dog off a leash and you can't pull it back. But more than that, more than anything, the positive thing that come from that was the way that Paul handled it, the humility with which he approached it, and
that was well done.
It could have turned nasty. It could have turned into a horrible back and forth. But the humility with which he just said, "Yes, it's disappointing, but you know he's an icon of the sport. He maybe needs a bit of help if that's the case to bookend it like that." Speaking of Paul, we'll finish up on this. What's next for Paul Hughes?
Well, I'm sure in the next few weeks there'll be a big announcement.
Okay.
I mean, so.
Fucking poker face over here. Will there be a big announcement? Aye.
Yeah, well, yeah. Obviously we've got a game plan. Obviously the PFL have a game plan. With the whole thing with Ramadan at the minute.
Right,
yeah, of course.
Okay. Nothing happens.
On certain automatic rematch, but it is something that has to be done.
Yeah.
Something that I think it's justified,
and
it will be done. You know what I mean? But in terms of the time scale, I think that Paul's happy within the promotion and their plans, and we have things in place. He's But like, he's back in training camp already.
Yeah.
It's not going to be, as Usman came out and said, the 3 or 4. Paul's going to need 3 or 4 fights before a rematch. That's not going to be the case, right?
Well, that's he said that, didn't he?
Yeah.
But again, like, if you don't want to fight somebody, you try and put them on the back burner.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, he's hoping Paul trips himself up. I don't think I think he wants the rematch too, because I think he, as a real champion, you always want to prove that I am the real champion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But also, where do you go in the division?
Yeah.
Paul's beat AJ McKee, beat him comfortably.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I was the bad Paul Hughes. If that was the Paul Hughes fought Usman, fought AJ McKee would be going to his funeral. Like.
Yeah.
Could Paul has said it himself, like, could he, we know he could, but do the PFL believe that he could bring the PFL to Belfast and sell that out?
Is that a possibility?
Do they have we all have confidence in this ability to do that as an organisation? Do they think, yes, we can do this with Paul?
If Paul was on Cage Conflict, I could sell the honest. Like, you know, I mean, the fans that travel, like, you know, I mean, if you're watching the Morgan Charrier fight, the amount of fans went to London.
Yeah, that was huge.
You know, like, even the fans went to Dubai, and it's an awful track after Christmas. The money involved, and if you're sitting there now about all the stuff, Paul, like, kind of almost. People gravitate towards Paul because he's such a nice guy.
Yeah.
He brings people in his life. He tells them his story. Right through his life, his ups and his downs, his trials and tribulations. Like, he brings everyone involved. Everyone go to Paul because they feel they're part of the story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, when after the fight in Dublin, I don't think that maybe Paul had that star power to bring a whole promotion and kind of hold the whole promotion.
Yeah.
After the AJ fight and after the Usman fight, they definitely believe that, and I have no doubt that they believe that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well done.
That's going to be class. I will definitely be there. If,
Absolutely,
if we get the chance.
100%.
Paul, when you're usually on podcasts, we're speaking about the team, speaking about Paul, the big fights that are coming up. Not a lot of people necessarily know your backstory, your origin story. So when was your first kind of introduction to martial arts, and how did you discover MMA as a sport?
Well, I don't know, you got a boxing, you got a Thai boxing, and then basically it was doing the door, started the door, and you know yourself doing the door, like, you don't want to strike people or fight all the time or whatever else. So I was trying to find a way of how I can control situations without having to either be in front of the courts or whatever it may be. You know what I mean? But like, I was sent there with Belfast, and I mean, you're 9 or 10 times a lot of things you end up with confrontation.
Yep.
And so I want to be able to deal with confrontation where I don't have to either hurt myself, I don't want to bust myself up on my hands and all, or else I don't want to also end up in front of the police and explain myself.
Yeah.
And that's so again, this is the days before cameras really or whatever else. So it was always a way of dealing with almost like, kind of what you say, get something that not escalate a situation. So we were doing a kind of half and half class. We started there in Frankie McCampbell's place.
Okay, right.
And it was Graham Keys came on board. And he was doing like a doorman, like half it how to restrain people, control people, not let people close, that type of stuff.
Almost like an SIA type course, right?
Yeah, so half Thai boxing and then half restraint. And then I went, what else do you do? So I ended up started talking to Graham, and we done a wee bit of private work during the day, but a personal training. Me and Stevie Lynch.
Stevie Lynch, UFC 72. Fought Dustin Haslett.
Yeah, Dustin Haslett and beat by Darsh Chucky, beat by.
Yeah, it was.
But again, me and Stevie started doing privates with him.
Right.
But we got again more in the door work because we've done the door. And then
were you aware that it was a sport as well? Like, were you aware of MMA as a sport?
No, not really. And then I remember coming there the frames and walking around the Virgin Megastores and buying a UFC DVD. I think it was UFC 35 or 36. It was Rico Rodriguez. Like, I don't know who it was.
Randy Couture?
No, might have been, or what one? Yeah, it was.
Heavyweight title?
Or what do you call the big guy, the big tall guy from
Tim Sylvia?
Yeah, Tim Sylvia. That one, yeah. But back in the days, and it's just unbelievable. Like, it's just stuff's brilliant. So when did I end up asking Graham, come and do more BJJ, obviously no geek stuff.
Yep.
So we've done that for like 6-7 months, and then I think Graham and Frankie had a wee bit of spute over the premises.
Frankie McConville?
Yeah, just about. I think it was like, you're using my premise and whatever else, what are you paying me, and blah, blah, blah. You were paying Graham, obviously. So he then moved to La Valley and started his classes that evening. It didn't suit me. So I was like, going, right, okay, what can we do here? I want to continue this journey. So me and Stevie then went around, and numerous boxing clubs, went to St. John Bosco, brought our own mats, put it down, paid them privately. We went in during the day, there was nobody there, learned own stuff, learned off bash routing DVDs. You know what I mean? Watching them, writing it down, getting in and teaching ourselves and whatever else. And eventually a guy came in, was just in the window going to the leisure centre. The guy was in the leisure centre one day and says, listen, I do MMA. you just want to do a bit of training with me. I'm just back from Australia. I'm a blue belt and I was like, we're just kind of doorman, keep ourselves fit in here and whatever else. So he came up and he says, well, I don't really do much. I'm not great stand-up, but I'm a good grappler. So he came the next week and then we done a bit of stand-up pads and all. And then he says, well, we'll do a bit of grappling. And then I murdered him. Okay, and he says, well, if you're beating me up, I'm fighting here in a few weeks. Why don't you come to my club? My coach, Stevie Patterson. So we went up on a Saturday and I was literally open mat. So me and a friend of mine, Stephen Doyle, walked in and we all looked at us because we didn't know who these guys. And we're meatheads and big guys on what I call that, doing a lot of weights. We walked in and we're like, going, right, what do I do here? Put gloves on, roll. We ended up doing a mad workout to start off with. 500 Hindu squats.
Fucking tell me about it.
100 fucking Hindu press-ups and all mad stuff. Legs were shaking, didn't know what.
Well, that was the Davy Patterson warm-up though. It was worse. It was worse than a class. Like,
so we didn't even, we were downed up before it even started. And then went rolling and I was like, just got our legs punched over. I was like, no, getting pinned in the ground. Like we were grappling with no strikes. All of a sudden we're getting pinned on the ground and getting punched in the face. I was like, literally, don't get out, we're just going to keep punching it. So our lips were busted, ears were black and blue, nose busted, everything. I was on the Saturday and then we came back on the Tuesday. He just says, what's your timetable? And we're talking about it. And he says, well, we'll do day classes during the day on Tuesday and Thursday morning. So we came back on the Tuesday. And then he says, I didn't think I would have seen you boys back. And I said, well, surprise. And he said, do you want to fight this Sunday? And I was like, right, okay. Yeah, why not? And at the end, there's like, I didn't even sparred, stand up, I took pads and all, and whatever else. I went, no worries.
Would this have been progressive combat at the time?
Yeah, okay,
right.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So,
I
said, what's the rules? And they said, right, there's no, the end is, the MMA's progressed so much, man, but the end is, amateur rules was 2 5s, no shin guards, pro gloves.
Was this A-class amateur? Because I remember there was classes.
This is well before all that. This was just like...
So amateur back then was 4-inch gloves as well?
4-inch gloves,
fucking hell, man.
No shin guards and 2 5s. Right? And I was like, right, okay, this is not going to ramble in, like, on a Sunday afternoon. We're like, going...
Knees to the head and everything were legal at this stage. Yep.
Five rope boxing ring?
Yeah. So it was like, okay, so I remember... I said, what's in the elk? I said, this one was in the elk. So the guys fighting was from Aaron McNally's club. But we're all warming up.
Sudden Impact.
So we're all warming up in the same room. Right? So the guy's fighting, they stand beside me. He's warming up. But I remember hitting the pads with Shimmy Deeds and boxing coach, and Emmett saying to him, just take this guy down, don't be standing with him. You know what I mean? And I was like, right, okay. So we ended up just shooting from my legs. Ended up sprung, getting on top of him, and kneeling on him, and then going, I can't even hit this guy. So just stood up. And it was just a constant, that first second, I was just up and down, him just running for my legs, you know what I mean, and trying to get me down, and me just trying to stand up. So I ended up a draw. It was after the first 5 minutes, I was like, going, fuck me, I was like, going 5 minute rounds, that's easy. I can do, I run, play football, do this, 5 minute rounds, fuck me, no problem here at all. I remember like in the first one going, fuck me, what the fuck, 5 minute round, never, like coming out for the second round, I was just on air. And
arms feeling heavy as fuck. I don't know how to use it.
Adrenaline,
never competed before in my life. And then, so I ended up, we had a draw, and then I said, listen, I fucking hate these rules. It's a load of balls. I want to hit people with elbows. So I ended up, my second fight, I just went straight to pro. And the only fit that could get me in was a guy called Steve McComb. Well, I was still down in Metapology. Steve McComb, no, exactly.
I was about to say, like...
Taz, he's a bantamweight. He's laid heavy. So Steve McComb, he's actually a triathlete now from Dungannon. He's a very, very fit guy. And so he was, I think he was 4-0. He was the best light heavyweight in Ireland at the time. He beat everybody. And I was going to fight him, and I went, fuck it, right, no worries. So I ended up fought him and knocked him out in the second round. So that was it.
So one amateur fight straight in the pro.
That's the way it was. But
that's it. There was no like, I wasn't going like...
You paid 50 quid, you were a pro, you know.
But like the thing is, we're talking about like social media. There was no social media. It was like Boards IE. There was nothing there. Like there was no status. I was doing it for myself. I didn't care what. I didn't get paid nothing. You know what I mean? It was just for myself to test myself. I didn't think there was no longevity in the sport in terms of, I didn't think I was going to hit the UFC or was never my aspirations. I mean, I was a wee bit older, so it was just...
Well, that's what you used to... Because this is back when I was a fan of the sport. I'd never trained or anything like that. So I remember the fights in the Ramble Inn and the Elk, and you had guys like Peter Wilson was a great example of it. He was a turn up and fight kind of guy. He would have got offered a fight.
Aidan Marin, Greg Lochran.
And Peter Duncan. You had all these guys floating about. And it was a time where there wasn't the people weren't involved in it for the sake of a Facebook profile picture or an Instagram profile picture, this was genuine martial art, because this was the realest form of combat you could have got, and you had all these guys going in, and it was just, there was a mystique, I think, around the sport at the time, but it was a kind of a golden era for the first wave of Irish MMA. But that was so necessary to sort of kick the doors down for what's happening now. Like, MMA is a mainstream sport now, which is fucking crazy. So if you hadn't have had that, even the visual of just MMA and essentially just a boxing ring, no padding. We were talking about it the other day, Peter Duncan and Emmett McNally in the Europa, was it? Peter Duncan just runs over, grabs him.
Was it a Devonish?
I can't remember.
Was it a Devonish?
Was it Devonish, was it?
Yeah.
Tell me, right, so you explain what Peter Duncan done, because I'm
Ran
pretty sure
across-
I seen it the other way around.
Jumped up on the air like
Yes.
the other day, yeah.
Did Emmett get him with that later on in that fight back again, or am I fucking having a weird mind fuck?
I can only remember that big slam from Peter.
Yeah. I think Emmett won the end. I think Peter tired out. I think he won the end.
I was so sure that Emmett lifted him and slammed him then later on in that
may
fight.
have, but not as impactful as that. Like that,
No, it was a fucking belter.
I was like, I think they used that in part of their clips.
For years to come,
Yeah, because you could buy the DVD after you fought. No, there was no social media. It was never uploaded to YouTube.
Yeah.
Whatever.
DVD.
What I call, but that was, I think, the highlight. You know what I mean? It was wearing pink shorts too. It was like kind of
Purple hair.
apart from jumpsuit.
And then, Tom Lamont's place. And what were your when you started fighting, what were your aspirations? Like, what was there a particular goal in mind? Was there I want to achieve this, or were you fighting for the love of fighting?
Just fighting for the love of fighting. I mean, there was like, the UFC hadn't came to the Belfast yet, and whatever else, but there was no even like kind of thoughts of that. There was no thoughts of like Davey, he was up in Davey's like, Davey was you want to fight next week? You're sitting there on a Tuesday skipping and you go, you want to fight on Sunday here in Wales? Oh, really? That's how you always knew. You go like, oh, really?
What weight are you?
Oh, really? And I go, I'm sitting in late. We don't want to fight next week. And that was it, you know what I mean? And plenty of my fights have happened like that. And plenty of my fights have been recorded. It wasn't ever up to the topology. Again, Steve McComb was down as a bantamweight, I fought, you know what I mean? So it was all that type of mixture, but they were days where I didn't care about records or whatever else. But never would you thought, A, you would make money on it, or B, you would get any prestige and go into any big promotions, because the UFC was a pipe dream.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You were never going to get there unless you're in America. These guys were like kind of fucking superstars to us.
I think the first I can really remember of something like that happen would have been when Greg Loughran fought Eddie Alvarez. Went over and he fought Eddie Alvarez in Bellator.
He put him down too, didn't he?
He dropped him in the early stances.
Well, that's a funny story, because I remember walking in Davies on Tuesday morning, and Davey walked in and he says, I've got a big fight for Greg. He says, okay, right? And he says, I want you to look after all stand-up for the next 6 weeks. And I went, okay, no worries. So that's how it all started. And
that was coming up that fight, wasn't it?
Crazy. He dropped me on left hook twice.
Yep.
And I caught the guillotine against the cage.
Yeah. On the first round.
And I think Matty Alvarez was the guy. Like, he was the man. Like, he was, him and BJ Penn were the two best in the world, like, at that stage. But he took that fight. Like, Greg is one of the best. But it just shows you, but in terms of how the game has progressed now, like, Greg I remember talking to Greg about it. He fought 6 people in 9 weeks, and the 6 people were the best 6 people in the world.
In 9 weeks?
In 9 weeks.
Never fucking hear
no
that.
training camps, no West, no Admiral. I mean, now if you ask someone to fight, it's like, I need 10, 12 weeks to fight. I mean,
even at the amateur level, guys need it. You're not seeing a lot of short notice amateur fights. You're seeing 8 to 12 week camps.
Greg fought like Andre Winner was a runner up of
The Ultimate Fighter, season 9, the Smashes.
So he
that's the one Norman Park won.
Yeah. So he beat him.
Oh no, it wasn't. That was one Ross Pearson won. Sorry.
So he fought him, and then he fought Ian M16 Butland a week later, and then he fought someone else 2 weeks later after that. And it was just hard fighting. I think if you look at this list,
top tier at the time, top tier, yeah.
And but it was a mixed record. He was winning 2 or 3 and losing 2 or 3, whatever else. But like, if he had the right instruction, he had the right training camp, he had the right preparation. And God knows how Greg, what level he would have got to. I think he's ended up with a record 21 and 18 or something.
Incredible.
Yeah, do you think Greg lost heart? Like, I'm not sure what happened, but I just know he was there, and then he just kind of didn't want to do it anymore. You know.
The thing is that Greg was seasoned, and he
was already a veteran at that stage.
But at a certain part of your life, you've actually nobody's going to buy into you because you've 17 losses.
Yeah.
You're done. Like you're done. Like you have to legitimize yourself to a certain degree. But Greg, I think I remember me having a conversation with Greg, and Greg was like, I'd have a career. This is not going to get me a mortgage or pay for if I have kids or pay, and that's the reality of the sport.
Is there still an element of that now? Like, I mean, you
100%.
have to be doing this because you love fucking fighting. It can't be for any other reason. Can't be for fame or fortune.
Even
It's
as
not going to happen.
even us as coaches, like people are like, oh fucking cunts are making a fortune, blah blah blah.
Yep.
We're still losing money going to fights. Like we're talking about like so we're Reese. You know what I mean? Like he's fighting here. It was just announced
in April.
Like they only pay for one coach going over.
Yeah.
So we have to pay for an extra coach, and we actually pay for two extra coaches. We're bringing Joe McCool going over.
Okay.
So I said to Reese the other day, he says, not only do you have to fight, you have to win and knock this cunt out to make it KO the night. And I said, so it's on you. You can't. You guys, you have to like Atlantic City.
No pressure, like.
Yeah, he'll do it. Like, but people are probably going, oh, them cunts are. They must be making this or making that. Like we make zero money. You see some of the people send us money of the part of the percentage of their fight. Even now, it's for the level of sport.
Yeah.
We're looking at the long game. Me and Pat look at the long game and go like, well, where are we going to be in a few years' time? Well, everyone wants to make money. We want to cash in. People fight. The fighters deserve money, but also the coaches, because we're doing the long hours too. You know what I mean? And we deserve like kind of our worth.
Where do you see the club? Sort of where do you see yourselves, you and Pat, and what's happening with the club, or where do you want to go in the future?
We're talking about like kind of Pat was talking about like city kickboxing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because that's a prime example of a gym that's came out of nowhere, relatively nowhere, not a global gym, and then all of a sudden they're best coaches in the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're
A 10-year overnight success.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? That's why I remember having this conversation with Pat before COVID, and we were talking about going to the AKA. Mail's prices were doing a wee bit. So me and Mail were talking about going over, and we were emailing. Then COVID hit, so it was kind of all knocked on the head. But I remember having the conversation with Pat, because AKA at the time was DC was the champion.
Yeah.
Habib was the champion.
Av Mendez was the head coach.
Yeah, and we were like, we go over, and I remember saying to them, Pat going like, I bet you now we go over here, within a few sessions they'll be getting us to take classes.
Yeah.
I tell you that now, like, you know what I mean? Like, I know the level of coaching we're at, and where our heads at and our dedication. I love Pat rolling with people who are legitimate guys and their faces afterwards. Because they go, holy, there's not one person who will Pat and I was man like even handle them and all. They just go like the question.
That's the island though. That's this island. We've always had hardcores of talents that are looking outside the island and aspiring to be that and getting beyond it, but not realising that you maybe have hit that level. Do you know what I mean? Until you're with certain people. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's why we let them all go over the kind of
test themselves.
Because they go over like it's not even just here. This has come back whenever we sent Carl Moore over to what I call you call that one what I call it.
Was it in the States? Was it?
Yeah, in the States. Oh God, what I call it, the wee guy with the curly hair, with the long hair. He's retired now. Anyway.
Ben Askren, no.
No, we only get kicks all the kicks.
You're Faber. Team Alpha
Team Alpha. We sent him. Like I guess he got a memory the other day. Daggy McLean was going over with Matt Mullen, and I sent Carl over. Carl was like going, they're not like I'm sparring boys. They're not all what they're at. In fact, they cut a couple of the training camp the next time short because
that's fucking fantastic.
They were bringing the best, the state champion in Thai boxer, and he knocked him through the ropes. And he says like, mate, these guys aren't great. I'm teaching the jiu-jitsu guys. He said, you showed me something the other day, and I've been doing these things. And the guy, the jiu-jitsu guy, and get out of it.
Well done. Fucking hell.
Like I was like, but this is what we've always believed that. And like even to this day, like I've always said, like when Paul goes over, and it's great rounds, and the great coaches, Henry Hufnall, and they always, Robbie Lawler, they always look after him, and they always have a lot of time for Paul. But he knows that, like, the tuition that he gets off myself and Pat and the other coaches within the club, you know what I mean, that it's vital for his development. Yeah. So we let him go over with confidence that we know that he's going there and he knows that, when I'm home, I'm home.
Yeah.
And speaking of Pat, like obviously I've been to lots of MMA shows where you hear him in the corner, and it's a toss-up between him and Chris Fields for the best kind of instruction in a corner, because it is so fucking concise, sequential, and clear for a fighter. Do you only feel that now, because we've all known this in the Irish MMA community, that he's an incredible coach. Do you feel now that with the expansion of fighters going elsewhere and taking that knowledge that the likes of yourself and Pat have equipped them with, that they're getting the recognition they deserve as high-class coaches?
Yes, of course, because, see, we're talking about city kickboxing, you know what I mean? So before all our guys broke through and they were just normal coaches and nobody gave them the respect, or nobody held them prestige. They walked in a room, nobody even batted an eyelid at them. All of a sudden they get a legitimate fighter who brings them and the recognition they deserve, and everything changes overnight. You know what I mean? So like, so for talk's sake, say like John Kavanagh years ago before, he's probably teaching the same stuff he done 15 years ago. But people look at him a totally different light. And that's not just because of one fighter. That's a lifetime of skills that he's developed.
Yeah.
But it's the one fighter or the one set of fighters that kind of era has give him the prestige that he deserved. He probably deserved it 20 years ago, but he only gets it now because people actually associate yourself with success. So that's the way we always felt. We always felt we had the skill set without the legitimacy. And with the likes of Paul and all these guys coming through, it gives us this legitimacy.
That's fantastic.
You know what I mean? And I think that more so probably because after the BJJ, the first thing you ask a BJJ or a grappling coach, what belt? What belt? What grade? And Pat's a brown belt, you know what I mean? But he's the best black belt I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I've seen him roll with guys who are competitive guys, and they're like just going, "Can you show me that?" You know what I mean? Can you show me that? Everything that I've learned has been a lie.
So the Pat McAllister back tech classes are legendary.
He's got systems because we have our rules within our club, and Mavsy Minds is the stand up and the MMA and putting strategies together in terms of game planning. And Pat is obviously the grappling, the wrestling, and chaining stuff together. So he would have that every day, and obviously with the consistency of the fighters, then the systems all tie into each other. And again, he like a lot of times he goes like Tuesday night, Wednesday night. He has all different nights for different systems. And the guys are that much, it's just built into them. You know what I mean? It's just built into them. You know what I mean? You don't even have to tell them, just have to tell them a night. Or like, and then like Paul would say, like, I don't have to tell you what to do here. Like in the corner, it's full funny. You go, this is your move.
You're just here Tuesday night.
Or this is the Matt Elliott takedowns here now, right? No, I mean, because they've been drilling that much. But that just shows you the level of commitment of their fighters because they know that if he's shooting that, like, and I've been in some corners back in the day where people haven't been in the classes, and I go like, I can't tell him what to do because
he wasn't there.
Yep. No, I can't tell him what shot to throw because he hasn't been training with me.
It's not done.
You know what I mean? So I would only do the corners the people I would have an association with directly.
Yeah.
Because I would do the fighter an injustice too because I don't know their strengths or their weaknesses, what they're working on.
Got you.
You know what I mean? Something like that.
Did you find your transition from fighting to coaching a natural progression? Because I know a lot when people stop fighting, they still want to stay heavily involved in the sport, and they kind of gravitate to different roles here and there. Was that?
Or were you doing a wee bit of that anyway as you went along?
Yeah, well, that's what I found when I was in Davies. The awards, like the last few years of me competing, and I felt that I was gravitating towards actually coaching. I mean, I was same with Greg Locken, Ray Alvarez, but also a lot of other things. A lot of times that maybe like people needed classes covered, I was taking the classes. And again, I think it came from me learning myself. Yeah. You know what I mean? Hard, like, because at the end of the day, like, if you have to break it into layman's terms, if some absolute beginner walked in, how could you teach him and break it down that he could kind of...
It's funny you say that, because that's the exact same interpretation I have with commentary. I've said to you before, you're breaking it down and thinking, how can you make this accessible to somebody who's
a newbie?
Yeah,
somebody who's only coming.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and this, some top level fighters, you ask them to take a class, they can do it themselves, but actually they break it down.
Yeah,
they just rush it through it because I did and then that's it done. They can't break it down for people actually kind of like a scale, like part A, part B, part C, part D.
Hand position, foot position, everything
I think that makes you a better fighter because it reiterates the importance of having the small processes. You're not rushing stuff. And then when things do come, you have everything kind of nailed down.
Brilliant.
And you enjoy coaching. That's
love coaching,
obviously you're doing it.
I love coaching.
You still get as much enjoyment out of it as you did from say.
There's bound to be nature going in and going, I can't up a fucking bar with tonight, lads. But there's bound to be nature just like.
No, not really. I enjoy coaching more than I enjoy fighting. I get into fighting later on, so I felt there was an element of pressure on me.
Is it a job? That's what I'm saying. Does it feel like a job?
Yeah, good. I love it. Like, there's not a day I get up, I look forward to it. You know what I mean? Like, there's not a...
Brilliant, man.
For example, like me and Pat, like he has a full-time job during the day. My job is the MMA. But like, we were on the phone last Tuesday evening, and I stuck into the group chat with the fighters, and we have talked to each other 84 messages. Pat has sent me today. from everything, like, I'm just named all the fighters who we were dealing with that day. RB, Burns, James Hughes, promotions, IER, Brave, UFC, whatever else, all the stuff, watching videos, and we live it. From the morning, I get up in the morning, walk a dog at 8 o'clock every morning for the two dogs for half an hour. We're on the phone to Pat. What do we need to do today?
Yeah.
Who have to see? Who has been pulling the weight? Who's got something coming up? Who got injured last night training, or who's at whatever else, whatever it may be. We live it, and we are so good that we kind of spread the weight a wee bit.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it a wee bit unique
Yeah.
and more beneficial, because I don't think one coach could do it. Like, I was with a coach who was trying to do it and couldn't do it. You know what I mean? And I seen, obviously, in them days when the world of sport was going, that I went, you need to spread the rules here. And we have, obviously, me and Pat lead the way, but behind that, I've got an awful lot of coaches coming through that take the burden off us too. Like, you know what I mean? Take the burden off us.
Right, and they seem to enjoy that responsibility. The likes of Adam, like Matty Elliott doing his wrestling classes, you've Big Donald up now doing boxing. You seem to have surrounded yourself and curated this team of everyone that's going in that one direction.
Yeah, well, who wouldn't want to be associated?
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
You wouldn't want to go up there and
exactly.
walk into the gym with a team full of hungry people who have got a lot of potential. And again, being associated like Adam or Donald, or as he Matt was the beginner wrestling, but even like Aiden and Luke and VD and all that, like, and Scott Harvey's a lot of coaching too. Like, being associated with him helps them as well, because it gives them legitimacy. We don't like to claim all our glory ourselves. What I call, so like, we kind of go like, well, like, all these boys do an awful lot of work behind the scenes too. Spend hours watching footage, you know what I mean, going over stuff. Like, there's Joe McCogan would do a bit of coaching now. Like, I was talking yesterday, he's sparring Reese tomorrow morning, and he's watching like his opponent and trying to
mimic.
His actions.
Give him that look.
Yeah, give him that look. So it's to be successful, it takes a village.
Yeah,
100%. It really does.
That's fantastic, but that's so nice to hear, isn't it? Just the solidity of a team. You know?
One thing I wanted to talk to you about was kind of the state of the Irish MMA community. Like, have you seen much of a shift in that in, say, the past 10, 15 years? Because I feel like there's a little bit of a change as things get bigger and as things get more popular and more people are involved. You can get little breakaways and fractions and clicks and things like that. Personally, for me, I feel like the MMA community on this island was tighter maybe about 10 years ago. Would you have any thoughts or opinions on that?
Well, I think obviously the North and South divide doesn't help an awful lot either, like, you know what I mean? Because like, it's the CFMA down the south has ruined amateur MMA.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's pushed all the young talent that kind of go towards the IMAFs or the Gamma,
Yeah.
kind of stuff, you know what I mean? To be perfectly honest, and to me, that their type of competitions for under 18s.
Yeah.
It's for under 18s, you know what I mean? It's the rule set, the way it all is done and all, and the multiple weigh-ins that week, and everything.
The shin guards, rash guards.
It's just geared towards under 18s.
Yep.
Some be for adults. I don't think you get long time in the sport, in any combat sport in general. So I think you should be trying to get onto the amateur scene, get into the real rule set as quick as possible.
Yeah.
And again, I feel that we've never had any guy in IMAF, we've never had any guy in Gamma, and the reason being is because I don't feel that's, if you want to get the fighters to the highest level at the right time in their lives that they need it, then it's a long route and it's years wasted.
And they need to feel everything.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? They need, yeah.
Again, there's so much good guys come from the IMAF and all that type of scenario there, but I feel that there's a lot of clubs push that too much, you know what I mean? And they kind of push all their fighters down that way for whatever reason. I don't know why. I don't think you get anything financial out of it.
Is it the prestige of maybe then saying, because the IMAFs and the Gammas then are kind of curated as the world championships, the amateur Olympics of MMA. Yeah. So maybe they want that association of saying we have an amateur world champion, because there still isn't really that pathway for an amateur fighter. Yes, you can win regional titles, you can win national titles, but there still isn't that well-established world championships. And I think the IMAFs are trying. I don't think the structure they have for it and the rule set, as you say, is right, but there's maybe that kind of an association.
Yeah, well, I think what I call it, obviously it is prestige. Like, we have a gold medalist, but to me, if someone said to me, I have a silver medalist here doing IMAF, I would, that's okay, I have a 4-0 kid here in the gym, we beat him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like we've never entered anywhere. Like, we got to fill the whole IMAF team up every weight division. You know what I mean? No doubt about that. But to me, it's like you're going to be. I saw like a lifetime amateurs. They're like, no, I mean, that's all. They're lifetime amateurs. By the time they get all that experience, and their coaches encourage them to move on, and then they start going to amateur and pro and build pro. By the time they get anywhere, they're 20 or 29. To me, their career's over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To me, you turn them young. Like, for example, like the Dina McGregor,
Yep,
or
100%.
Oliver, all them young guys coming
Michael
through.
Shields.
Yeah, like their guys are like, they're 18, 19, 20. And I want them all pro in a year.
But with a minimum of 10 fights as well.
Yeah. Get it done. Get it done. I mean, you get it done. Like, there's no point. It's like having 30 amateur fights, or but something is hard. I remember trying to match Alexander O'Sullivan years ago and cage conflict.
Yeah.
And I just rack over the 20-10 or something. It was something like that. And it was hard to get a match for his first pro fight. And he was maybe late 20s.
I think he was 29 when he made his pro debut, was it?
I mean, like, now he's fighting again here in Dublin, and I'm going, like, such a talented fighter. Should have done it 10 years ago. Where would he have been 10 years ago? What would he have give, like, kind of for himself in terms of where he could have got the level of dedication? He loves the sport. He's so talented. He could have been. But I just feel like that is a perfect example of maybe it got away from him a bit too much.
Do you think people get too precious about their amateur record, their amateur career, and instead of realising this is where you do your development, this is where you're building your base? You know, people get protective over an undefeated amateur record, or having to project almost or present themselves as this, instead of just going in and fighting amateur, getting it done. You now have amateurs with social medias, like so many followers, sponsorships. Is kind of that sanctity of what it is to be an amateur fighter lost a wee bit?
I think Lee was talking about earlier on before we even started, we're saying about like Instagram, that
Yeah,
type of
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
and all, and people getting their promotions, sponsors, and all that type of stuff, and they're like only they will novice fighters.
Is it a distraction?
It is, and it also, like, to me, that it is about learning. Your amateur record, like, any is no George St. Pierre's amateur record.
Not a clue.
Exactly. And who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? Because nobody cares.
Yep.
It doesn't like it's just like it's almost an MOT for your car. You put yourself in MOT, and like James Slavin, for example, he's just in the last year and a half. Like I think he's 8 and 7 or something like that. They're like, it's not a true reflection on his ability, but all that their record, you go like, he's just a 50-50 fighter, but he's a real dedicated fighter. He's got a good, but it's when he turns pro,
It matters.
All them losses will happen.
Palahan of SPG Cork is a prime example of that. I think he had more losses than wins when he turned pro, and now he's absolutely smashing it. But it's because he was willing to take those chances and take that experiential learning from that, and is now absolutely killing it on Combate in America. So he'd be a prime example of that. Another thing I wanted to touch on with you, I realise that we are talking for.
Listen,
I'm loving this.
Listen, I'm happy.
absolutely
I
loving
feel
this.
like part of the audience here. I'm happy enough.
I'm
Don't worry about
absolutely
that.
loving this. You've become involved in a new commission, and I think it's very important to talk about that. Yourself, Danny Core, Big Arm Wallace have begun the International Mixed Martial Arts Commission based out
Explain
of here.
what that is a wee bit.
What did you feel was the necessity for that commission, or how did those conversations even come about?
Yeah, well, obviously the commission is based on your Shannon. What it comprises of is, like, so if obviously you're getting the kind of the safety element of MMA kind of recognised. You're safeguarding everybody coming to the sport. You're legitimising the sport because there's an agreed rule set that everyone's abiding by. And ultimately, again, we're talking about the Joe blogs, the public walking in, what they expect to see, what they expect in terms of comedy, what you're trying to kind of get that across. Same as if somebody walks in here, 9 or 10 parents now, I don't really know what AMA the kids want to get into. Maybe the kids want to get into it. You know what I mean? So they want to go in and have it a safe environment. Like boxing clubs, we're sitting here now in a boxing club. We're safeguarding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Are the coaches qualified? Or the vet checked?
Yeah.
Are the kids going to be taught well, taught safely? You know what I mean? In a safe environment. And again, obviously, then a progression with are they going to gain a good kind of set of skills?
Yeah.
So, but it's not just because you become a good fighter.
Yep.
That I can open the gym. And that's the problem. People are just opening gyms left, right, and centre. A lot of times when I'm looking at promotions now and looking down the kind of the fight teams involved, I go, I've never heard of these boys before.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of their coach. Now, it doesn't mean that he isn't legitimate or whatever else, but like, I haven't seen him about the MMA scene.
Is it too easy to set up a club now?
Of course it is. You could set one up here now and go out and stick an offer.
There's no governing body saying, right, okay, you have what it takes to be a fucking proper coach to the kids that maybe are coming up with problems. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And again, like if you walk in and you know, like right now, like you have to worry about what happens to your kids.
Yeah.
You leave them there, you know what I mean? Like, are they going to be abused in any way?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Every individual, in the same way that you have with the framework I would think of would be Irish Football Association. They have, because I coached with them, I did youth coaching with them, so and there's so much vetting that has to be done on an individualised basis before you can even kick a ball or anything like that. And I don't think MMA in Ireland had that structure yet. and it's entirely necessary. But how did those conversations came about with the likes of yourself and Danny Core, Big Aaron Wallace? Who reached out to who, and how did that happen?
Well, we always kind of contact the three of us. Obviously, me and Danny for years have trying to be getting something together.
Yep.
They go to the council. They get obviously funding to help the smaller clubs.
Yeah, because people don't realise MMA is still not recognised as a sport.
No.
Here. No, it's not even recognised in many countries. And the prime example is if the UFC MMA gets recognised, they used to have an event shortly afterwards in the country.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's looked down, it's frowned upon, especially in the kind of combat kind of circles. Like kickboxing was really recognised 15 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's
that's one of the safest sports too.
Well, what that's
I mean, we don't even have a standing 8 count around. You know what I mean?
Standing 8 for me is pretty dangerous, to be fair.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's the old school. It's the people in the city halls.
Who
look at like my father thinks it's barbaric. You know what I mean? And he's old school.
Yeah.
So we have to try and change people's opinions. The first thing you do, you have to show it is safe.
Yeah.
There is safety precautions. Also, the coaches involved are the best people to be looking after your kids. Because like you're trying to get them at a young age.
That's it.
In our kids' classes, we have 3 coaches in every kids' class. You know what I mean? So everyone that you've got adults to show the technique on, and there's other adults around. There's anything else, because you don't want to leave yourself exposed.
No, exactly.
You know what I mean? But again, also that when we were all talking, because obviously Aaron is brilliant with obviously the whole kind of the regularity stuff. The rules set in terms of the refereeing and bringing that into perspective. So we were like, what way could we angle this that would cover all areas? Danny's brilliant at the paperwork and going through all the stuff with the council and dealing with all that, getting what needs to be done. You know what I mean, in place. And then obviously maybe meet with the biggest club in Ireland to bring in and give them legitimacy, given the legitimacy behind it, and going we're throwing a weight behind it, going, if they're behind it, why don't we all get behind it?
And in a very short space of time, like I think it was from the inception of the commission, I think maybe 2 or 3 months later, Aaron was in Austria running commission for a Brave show. And a very short, and
I love that big cunt. Like that's the first time I've seen a cunt on this as well.
It's
not like me at all.
But in a very, and obviously I was there commentating, so I can speak to the level of professionalism that he showed from start to finish. And I think that was a great example of the direction that this commission is potentially moving in.
Well, I think it's Danny and Aaron are the two of the main guys, and they're the best ones to be involved in it. You know what I mean? I just hope the rest of people come on board. Like Aaron's got it sewn up in the committee. Like he is so good. He's so professional. He loves the sport. You know what I mean? I don't think he's in it for the prestige or the money. He loves the sport, which is the byproduct of him being a big fan and an ex-competitor. So he knows he's a lot of attributes to bring to the table, and a lot of passion. So he's got that. We don't have to worry about that. Aaron's got all that covered. You know what I mean? He's so professional. Danny is the man of all the stuff. He's the go-between. He's the glue that makes it all go together. He's on the ball with everything. He knows what we need to do. Like he's running a course here for the coaching. He's giving coaching certificate. I have all my assistant coaches being coached on it, and he's done an online one for all our guys. And I think that's the first step in legitimizing clubs. How can you open? And I think we should really, but you need everyone to work together to go. You can't open a club or have competitive, right? Competitors on shows unless you have
you're an affiliate member, or do you envisage that being a difficulty though? That clubs that are maybe a little bit more old school or are reluctant to engage or be part of that process?
I've kind of seen that a few times now, where they don't want to be a part of that. Any sort of fucking governing body.
Why would they not want to be part of it? No, why would they not want to say they have a
self-interest?
If you walk in the club and you have almost like a star grading, like a parent, it gives them the confidence that where they're bringing their kids, they're getting looked after.
It makes everybody strive to make that environment right for kids and stuff as well, man.
And then, so we're trying to do go hand in hand. So if you go this way, then there may be potential for funding for you. So that's what we're trying to. Danny is trying to work towards to get legitimacy. To get right. Well, if you can buy into what we want to safeguard the whole sport, then there's going to be byproducts of right. Well, you may get funding to set up your own gym properly, get cages or punch bags or whatever you need, pads. But I feel that this is the problem in the north. I don't know about the south, but the north definitely is that there's so many promotions, and there's such a lack of maybe like fighters that they're going to these wee small clubs who aren't regulated, who have no safeguarding, and you don't know what you're getting on the day.
100%.
And they're setting up like a
Potentially dangerous.
turn it in the school. I'm going to go PC MMA, and then a promotion contacts you. You've got 2 kids and you're coming off the street.
Yep.
And can maybe handle themselves. Got a wee bit of kind of know a wee bit, not too much. And some promotion ring, I'm going, here, have you got any fighters? And you go, yeah, I have 2 guys. And you're standing there and you're thinking you're fucking King Dingaling standing in a corner going, I'm on a promotion.
Yeah.
But the reality is you shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
And that's safeguarded. The fighters aren't at the quality.
Yeah.
But the promoter doesn't care because your guys are sold 50 tickets each.
Yeah. Okay.
Now you
know what I mean?
So you're a member of the commission. You were a fighter. You're a coach now. You wear so many hats in MMA. You're also a promoter.
Yeah.
What are what did you feel was the need at that time to set up your own promotion, Cage Conflict, which is in a very short space of time become probably the biggest show on the island. At the time, what were you saying that you thought, right, we need something here? Because it was at a time where there was only really one promotion in the north, and it was what are you smiling for? It was a time where there was only really one promotion that, for better or for worse, kind of monopolized the landscape a little bit. And then you guys came along. What was your thinking when you set up Cage Conflict, and how did this sort of come into fruition?
Well, obviously, me and Pat were talking about our own promotion. And we couldn't get our guys. We've got hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of people coming through the doors every week. But they need competitions. So you train for a full match, and you're never actually getting on. After a while, they'll lose heart and they'll leave, and then you'll lose people, talented people. So we need to have a rainbow or a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
Yep.
So at that time, as you said, there was only a few promotions given out, one real consistent one.
Yep.
And to me, it was a real bad promotion. It was set up on the basis of it's a money-making scheme.
Yep.
And I had to deal with these on several times about this, about them pressurising my fighters to sell tickets,
Right.
and pressurising the fight at wrong weight divisions, and pressurising them to be overmatched and mismatched. And I thought that I don't want to be associated with it. And I'm still this day I'm not associated with it. And the reason being is that it's not what I envisage for a promotion, a mixed martial arts promotion.
Yeah,
would be.
okay.
You know what I mean? Cage Conflict, I wanted to be a fair promotion. You know what I mean? We have 25 guys fighting here in a few weeks. We have maybe a 60% win ratio, which isn't mad. Like it's like 50-50 from the guys. I mean, say if we have that in the next few weeks, we'll have 10 or 12 guys losing.
The fights are competitive.
Yeah. As simple as that. Like, but people think it's Fight Academy Ireland show. It's not. A lot of times we take the harder fights.
Yeah.
They get because it's like almost like going, this guy maybe shouldn't be fighting him. That's the only fight I can get from him. You know what I mean? So we have to take rule of day. Something we're going in this fight going like we're really like it's 70-30 against it here.
Yeah.
But we'll have to get them competitive. We've got to show others that we're not trying to be.
Yeah.
Because, like we don't want to go on like there's clubs pride themselves. We have an 85% win ratio. Well, we're not doing something right then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, you're not testing your guys. It's not fair. So I always tell on the promotion and all the things like after the show is it. This is a fair show. Yeah, it's a fair. Platform.
You know you're going to get. As a coach of an opposing not an opposing team, but if you're fighting an FAI guy, you're going to get a fair.
I hope so. I hope to believe it.
Fair fight, fair representation, and fair judgment as well.
Again, it's an independent judgment.
Exactly.
It's arms and what I call the same one on a lot of the promotions. But like I'll give you an example. Like Arno was starting his own one at RAF. Promotion. So we sent him a load of fighters, like 15 or 16 fighters. Kids, novices, different levels, and being true, honest with their background. Listen, the guy's been doing it 6 months. He's not bad. Or listen, he's doing it 9 months, but he's not great. Oh, just being honest. And then Arnold voice messaged me. He says, "Listen, everyone thinks that every one of these guys is Paul Hughes. I can't get your guys matchups
because of the FAI association.
But they're genuine novices and kids. We talked about us having teenagers taking fights with adults just to get them fights. Fighting maybe the wrong rule set as well, just to get them fights. And I think that is part of our success. It's just a byproduct of our success. But we're getting back to why the Cage Conflict was there. I was feeling that we needed a good platform, which is a fair platform, for all of the North to compete.
We surprised how quickly it took off and how quickly it's become. Like, what's the next show is in March. What number shows that?
That's 15.
15,
and
15
even
at 15, and it's the shows are in the Devonish is your home base, But you could go beyond the Devonish should you choose to. I think the fact that you have probably the best commentary team in MMA has a lot to do with it. But were you surprised at just how quickly it took off?
Yeah, well, again, obviously we initially started to get our guys competitive, right? We knew, because obviously we've been around different promotions, what people do right, what people do wrong. You know what I mean? There was a show in the Devonish just before it had like kind of self-serve, what I call it, tables and chicken and all that type of stuff. And I was like, that's just not what you want. What do you envisage? Have a nightclub atmosphere, dark, music pumping, a set of fights, and has to be on Saturday night. You want to go out with your mates and have a few drinks.
Saturday night fights.
Saturday night. It has to be on Saturday. It does not work any other context. Like, now it does, but you don't get the same type of atmosphere. Now you go with
everybody's thinking about work in the morning and shit like that.
IUR's on to Sunday. It's a great show and all, but the atmosphere isn't the same. It is a competitive out there, clapping and cheer and all. But I think when you add alcohol to the mix, it changes the environment.
A cage conflict show feels a wee bit more of an occasion. It feels a wee bit more than just a fight show. It feels like you're going to something. We're going. The next show you and your brother are going to, and you get the experience. It'll be great crack.
It's a night out, and it's a celebration, and it's a good night for your mates. It could be done in a number of ways. A load of your friends go in and go here, but watch a fight tonight, and it'll be a good crack. You're always going to guaranteed a good set of fights.
Also an opportunity to see the next potential, maybe the next Paul Hughes, because you've got young guys that are making their pro debut that in time, well, undoubtedly, like Paddy McCrory being a prime example of that, former cage conflict champion, what he's going on and doing, people are able to say, because there's something nice about being able to say, I was there when he maybe had his first pro fight, second pro fight. So you have the opportunity to see these potentially big names moving forward. Yeah,
obviously Paul, he was fought in the first and the second show.
Andreas Binder as well.
And all these guys coming through now. But again, it's because we're trying to give them the platform. Because
100%.
See, until they get a decent enough record, the big promotions don't want to know them. No, they don't want to do. That's just the honest of it. We have guys there who are debut guys, but we're going, right, well, people have approached us and we're like, they're good enough to fight on the show, but they're going, but they're debut guys or 1-0 guys. You got to get this certain level where you're 4, 5, 6-0 or in that. Actually, the better than I did. I was the same with Paul. Paul was a 1-0. Couldn't get him a fight. I tortured Ian Dean to get him on Cage Warriors. I didn't really want him at the start. And they're like, I'll see what I can do. I'll try and get him on this. Just no real interest. Cap at him, pot cap at him. This guy's going to be a superstar. Took a last minute fight, up 2 weight divisions, stopped the guy, and they were like, okay. And then still weren't really bought on him. So we went back to cage conflict again. And then they were like, okay, we'll give him a chance. And then it turned out Ian Dean said it was the best signing he ever made. You know what I mean? But it took persuasion. Took us to keep on knocking the door. And we have a number of guys, obviously Paddy coming through, but not just our club, a lot of other clubs. You know what I mean? Obviously like the Shelleys from down in KF.
Mario Di Rufano made his pro debut against Corey McLaughlin on that show. You know, again, 2 young fighters with a huge future. Do we bit of promotion? When is the next show? Just to get that out there.
Well, the next show will be in this time in 2 weeks. And the Devonish 8th of March. There's 4 pro fights in the headline. I think there's 5 amateur title fights, 4 or 5 amateur title fights, and a whole list of undercards. So there's like 29 fights to this point. Again, a lot of new talent coming through too. Like, and as you say, who knows who you're going to see?
Exactly. We're going to get you out of here because we've. This has been.
You know what? I think that's the fucking least I've ever spoken.
This has been an absolute
belter. Mate.
Before we go, I do want to touch a wee bit on Ryan Curtis. We can't have you here and not talk about Curtis.
Of course,
That we've mentioned it before in the podcast. That man is fucking superhuman. You know, obviously from for people that don't know, Ryan suffered a career-ending, life-threatening injury. Was told he would never walk again, and he's essentially a medical marvel. Like, can you talk to me a wee bit about just the type of man that Ryan Curtis is?
Well, probably in one word, bulletproof. He's bulletproof. Like, in terms of what things have been through at him this year, just like I don't know how he could deal with the multiple things that he had to deal with this year. Still this day dealing with it. You know what I mean? And again, he's coming through. He's got a good support network of genuine people around him. What I think at the time of the accident, obviously the news that we were getting was portrayed to us that he's never going to walk. It was heartbreaking. We were so distraught, and hand on heart, could I think he could do it? What I was being told, it was a pipe dream. You know what I mean? It was like,
was there misinformation being given around, or was it?
No,
was this just, were the medical professionals looking at it like this is because obviously Ryan Curtis being an elite level athlete, they're looking at that in the scope of maybe just what the average man would be looking at.
I think that is a big part of it. I think they were looking at Ryan Curtis. It's just being a normal civilian. Yeah, he's not a normal civilian. He's superhuman, and they don't know what he's physically, mentally able to do and go through and overcome. That the surgeons were saying at the very start that he'll never walk again.
Yeah,
that was the initial thing. I remember walking in and seeing him the Saturday, the day after the operation, in intensive care, and crying my eyes out. I didn't even know what to say to him. He could not move, and for weeks he couldn't move anything at all. You know what I mean? And we were hoping for glimpses of what we asked the doctors. When the inflammation settles down around the vertebrae, will there small movements, will the nerves start coming back home? They were like, I don't know.
Fucking
can't give you any news.
Terrifying.
I think in the medical profession in general, they can't give you any positive news. They're always going to look at the worst type of scenario. And then everything else is a bonus coming after it. They go like, I've been told a few times on my handbrakes, you'll never punch again. Paul Hughes, for example, never punch again.
Multiple handbrakes,
They'll always go on that. It means you can't hold them to it. They're not going to go, you told me I was going to you told me I was going to do this after 6 weeks. So we'll always give them probably the most pessimistic news. And then anything after it's a bonus.
A bonus,
You know what I mean? But I think obviously that he was surrounded with people who kind of bought into that too much and used that for their own hysteria. They kind of hanging on. And now when you look back on it, and people who are not there around them now, it's pretty obvious that there was a lot of misinformation portrayed to the public throughout the whole process. And it wasn't until maybe Ryan was able to get his own phone back that he was able to communicate with the outside world.
That's scary, isn't it?
Yeah. But again, listen, I'd say it is what it is, that these people, they'll have to be standing in front of somebody and one day and be judged.
Absolutely.
But the positivity of that then being that, you know, was a cage conflict where Ryan was, as always, dressed up to the nines, you know, stylish as, walking about shaking people's hands. That blew my fucking mind.
This was just lately?
It was a couple of shows ago, wasn't it?
Last show.
Last show or the show before,
And but I was so, like, I didn't know how he would have felt coming to it. You know what I mean? So, because he was supposed to have headlined.
I remember,
So I remember I texted him, I said, listen, you come to Belfast this week, I said, you want to get you on the stage and whatever else? I said, understand if you don't want to go. And he says, yes, mate, 100%, I want to be here. Can you get me in my tickets, my calendar? No problem, mate, whatever you need.
Amazing.
Obviously, and then him being there and keeping him a wee bit offside where he wasn't centre stage, not really making too much of a mad deal of it. Him just being there was enough for us to kind of.
I think for everyone to see. I think for everyone to see that was, you know, that was great.
It was huge. Coming home and people seeing stuff on social media of his progression of what he's doing and walking and doing stuff and all, like, it kind of, whenever you see him walking about, it kind of knocks you back a wee bit. Knocks you back and going like, I can't believe he is actually doing this. Because I've seen him and you actually forget that our body was because how good he is now.
Superhuman. I think that's a real positive way to.
Well, that's a lovely way to end it.
Liam, thank you very much, man.
Liam, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been The Bat and the Bandit, episode 22 with Liam Shannon, myself, Lee Rogers. Follow on social media, Instagram, all that kind of jazz. Like, share, subscribe, comment. We'll see you next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.